Yes, today's lesson is about reading and it's reading for meaning. So in this session, I want you to read and listen and learn some pointers for when you're actually looking at your reading exam. So today's lesson is about detailed reading. This is when we're reading for detail and it involves reading every word of a whole piece or chunk of a text. Each word, sentence or phrase is of equal importance. So don't miss anything out. And this is particularly important in your examination when you have to read every word so that you know the answer when you're looking at the questions. So our exam reading today is 5 top tips for good health. Number 1, eat 5 fresh fruits and vegetables every day. Number 2, drink water. Number 3, say no to junk food and fizzy drinks. Number 4, take a walk in the fresh air. And number 5, have fun. So that's the reading for the exam, and we're going to ask some questions now. So make sure that you pause the video and look at it again if you can't remember that text. Your first question is an example of a multiple choice question. This text is about, and now you have to decide which it is about, 1, 2, 3 or 4. Number 1, fruit. Number 2, where to walk during lockdown. Number 3, ways to eat. Or number 4, ways to be healthy. So in the exam you would get a tick box, but for today I would like you to write the answer down and we will check those answers in the next lesson. Your second question is an example of a statement that you'll be given with a gap where you have to add the word that you think fits. So let's have a look at the question. Tip number tells you what to drink. Now you have to look back over the text about the 5 tips and decide which number tells you what to drink. You might also get a question that's asking you the opposite of what the text is telling you. So we've just looked at 5 tips for healthy eating. So we could get a question on what's not healthy. Let's have a look at that question. It's not healthy to eat or drink. So now you have to extract from the text the 2 words that are important that tell you that you shouldn't really eat or drink. Again, write those words down and we'll check to see if you've got the answers correct next lesson. The next question is an example of the type of exam question where you're given a statement sentence and you have to decide what is the missing word. Let's have a look. Go for a outside. So decide what you think the missing word is, write it down and we'll check next lesson to see if you're correct. Another type of question that you will get in the exam will be about what type of text is the piece of reading that you've been given. Now, if you're level 2 or level 1, that question will be worded differently because we're looking at functional skills entry level 1. So let's have a look at the different ways in which the question might be asked. What is the text type? What is the text? So that might be asked at level 2 or level 1. And at entry level 1 for functional skills, you'll be given some options. Is this, and then when there'll be a list, a menu, website, novel, non-fiction book, leaflet, or something else might be mentioned. So that's the type of question that you will get on the text type. And we're going to look now at what question there will be for us today. What is the text? The text is a menu in a cafe, a set of instructions, a list of ideas for snacks. So you would tick the one that you think is correct. And for this video, you can write down the one that you think is correct and you can check your answers next lesson. What is the text? And you've got a picture there of the text. The text is a menu, a website, a leaflet. In the exam, you would tick one, but for today's lesson, I want you to write down what you think the answer is. What is the text? The text is a menu in a cafe, a set of instructions, a list of ideas for snacks, and again, you look at the text that you have in front of you, and on the screen there you see you have a text that's mainly images, pictures, but you still have to decide what type of pictures. Are they pictures from a menu? Is it a set of instructions? Or is it a list of ideas? In the exam, you would tick the answer, but for today, I want you to write down what you think the answer is. So revise the type of reading that you do, because it's quite important that you do the right type of reading at the right time. And for today's lesson, we needed to do detailed reading, read every word. And we needed to answer some questions. They were based on functional skills entry level 1. So if you want to go back over the video and look at the text again and look at the questions, write down the answers, and in our next lesson we'll have a look to see how many you got right. To recap then, can you remember what skimming is? This type of reading is when we are most of the time looking at a piece of reading and our eyes are flicking up and down. They're not going constantly from left to right as they do when we do detailed reading, and it's to get the gist, the main information. We use this for headings, visual images and keywords. So skimming is a skill that allows us to make the decision about whether to continue reading what is in front of us. What about scanning? Yes, scanning, we do use this skill to help us to find and take out, to extract what we need to read quickly and efficiently. So we scan if we very quickly want to find an answer to something. So when we're reading, we use skimming, scanning and close reading. And there's a photograph of one of the magazines, and if we're skimming, we're just going to check out those headlines and decide, do we want to read this further? So if we're looking in a little bit more detail, perhaps we're looking for a job and we're thinking, well, there must be a job in this newspaper. I will look. We're usually scanning for keywords and information about particular jobs or something that we're reading about. And we do close reading when we read every word, because when we read every word, we need to know what is written in that text. So using close reading, we're asking the question, what is this about? And in an English exam, you always need to ask yourself, have I read everything? Because if you're doing an English reading exam, the questions are always about the text.